Good afternoon. Thank you all for joining us for today's news conference. Before we start, just so we're all clear, and I think you already know what I'm going to say, in respect to any questions revolving around an indictment or investigation, the comment will be, of course, no comment, because he simply cannot comment. So again, ask it any way you want to, up and down, 11 times, no comment. With that, I will turn it over to the mayor.
Good afternoon, and thank you as always for joining us for our Monday afternoon press briefing. To begin, I'd like to invite Chief Wade forward to speak about an unfortunate incident, an unfortunate accident that took place. I want him to give you details, but I do want to express that from the city that we offer our condolences to the family of Miss Tina Carter Sawyer, who lost her life, and that we will ask the entire city to be in prayer for this family, and that the Lord give his angels charge concerning them. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good afternoon. To echo what the mayor just stated, I want to extend my prayers, thoughts, and condolences to the family of Tina Carter Sawyer, 35-year-old female. She lost her life during a motor vehicle accident late Friday night, early Saturday morning. Based on our investigation, the vehicle was traveling at a very high rate of speed on Suncrest. The vehicle crashed, immediately was engulfed in flames, and was literally divided. The impact was so high. The issue that brought it to my attention, of course, the fatality aspect of it. But during our investigation, we observed a JPD vehicle passing that location shortly after the accident. When I have more questions than answers during an investigation, then I'm going to always err on the side of caution. We immediately launched an internal affairs investigation. I reached out to NBI on Saturday. We spoke on Saturday. We spoke on Sunday, and we're going to be meeting face-to-face today. Because my question is, there are questionable actions, but more importantly, there are inactions during this situation. We are trying to build something special here at the Jackson Police Department. If it was a pursuit, then it was a pursuit. But your questionable actions and your inactions will not be tolerated by me. The citizens hold me accountable, therefore I will be holding these officers accountable for their questionable actions and inactions. They have been placed on administrative leave pending the outcome of this investigation, but I want the citizens to know, first thing is that, again, we're building something special. We're creating trust, not distrust. We expect our officers to have the utmost integrity, and when they don't, then they don't fit my mission and my vision for the police department. We ask that you keep that family uplifted in prayer. My team has already reached out to her mother and expressed what we feel has transpired. I'm going to be meeting with NBI today to hand over all the information that we have so they can take the lead on this investigation, and it will be a fair an impartial investigation that will be handed over to the Mississippi Attorney General's office. Thank you. I got to run. I got to go. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief, for not only providing those details for the media and for the residents. I do want to acknowledge that shortly after this event took place, the Chief did call me. He did express many of the things that he just expressed today. And so I think it is a mark of a good chief that he not only, when it's necessary, advocates for the men and women of the Jackson Police Department, but he also maintains a standard of what our expectations are. Beyond that, we can't speak to any more details. First of all, we are not aware of all of the details that would be necessary at this time, but I thank Chief for that. Turning the page, and on a more positive note, We had the kickoff celebration for the National Folk Festival this weekend. It was this Saturday. We had a great crowd for this soft launch. Now, to be clear, the official first year would be next year, and a 3-year commitment for the Folk Festival being here. I want to thank all of the volunteers that came out for this kickoff celebration. And I want to also thank those who provided food. We had food from Hal and Miles. I believe Martin's also provided food. Cathead Distillery provided some spirits for people to enjoy. And we had performances from different genres of music, really spanning the globe and various parts of the nation. And we also had the very well-known Eddie Cotton to perform. The Folk Festival, again, returns on November 7th through the 9th of 2025. Once again, that's November 7th through the 9th of 2025. Also, congratulations is in order for our Jackson State Tigers, who have won the SWAC East championship, and they are preparing to play in the SWAC championship. That will be December 7th, 2024, at 1 p.m. at Veterans Memorial Stadium. That will be a busy day because in addition to the SWAC championship, we also have our Christmas parade. We've already been in discussions with the athletic director at Jackson State so that we can make certain that we do this seamlessly. Our timing of the Christmas parade considers the game, which is at 1 p.m., and that's why the Christmas parade is at 6 p.m. downtown. It is an evening Christmas parade, and the theme is Holidays Through the Ages. The holiday festival will be at 3 p.m. at City Hall, and we'd like to invite all of the families of our city and surrounding communities, in fact, to join us. I believe that there may be some advertisement of our Christmas parade at the Jackson State game so that those that are certainly cheering on the Tigers are reminded of the Christmas parade and the celebration that will continue shortly after the game. I want to address something that I was made aware of this past weekend that was in the media, and that was the cancellation of the 1% meeting. So to be clear, this was not my need to be out of town. In fact, for those that were present in court, I made it clear that I had a prior engagement. I went to the National League of Cities conference that I go to every year, that the city of Jackson is represented at every single year, not only just for mere attendance. I had multiple speaking engagements at the National League of Cities conference, which I did, in fact, do. And the cancellation of the meeting was not because I wasn't there. It wasn't because the members of the commission that are with the city of Jackson weren't there. While I knew that I had a prior engagement, what we did not know is that the vice chair of the committee also had a prior engagement and could not go there. So it wasn't simply a question of whether a quorum could be achieved. We know that Mr. Perry took it upon himself in order to call people up and see if a quorum could be met. But just as in the city council meeting, as I use as an example, while they may be able to form a quorum, you never have a council meeting without either the president or the vice president of the council. If it is a committee meeting, you don't have a committee meeting without either the committee chair or the vice chair of that committee. It is not appropriate to self-ordain yourself an individual who can call a meeting, create an agenda, and say what is going to be discussed. And so that is why the meeting was canceled once we learned that the vice chair was unable to attend. And that is what happened. So it's unfortunate that it became a bigger discussion for other purposes. But that is the reason that the meeting was canceled. And we are certainly regretful for anybody's time that was misspent or wasted. And it was our intent to not waste anybody's time, and that's why we reached out early on to make it clear that the meeting would be canceled for those purposes. An update on a few things. Hotel O. We know that this has been covered extensively, and I want you to know that we are looking forward to moving forward to take down Hotel O. This council agenda will present the last step, I believe, to accept the bid and move forward. Again, there have been several generous donors within the community that are supporting paying for that demolition. We're grateful for their generosity. We're grateful for their love of the city of Jackson. And we will be pushing forward with that as soon as possible, presuming that the council does, in fact, agree to the bid, the lowest bid that was present there. Lastly, I will address that we are aware of Ms. Angie Ladner's resignation, who was the manager at Thalia Mara Hall. We are accepting her resignation. It was effective November 15th. As always, I don't discuss personnel issues, so I won't say anything in greater detail about that. But I will say that the repairs to Thalia Mara Hall continue to go as scheduled. We continue to have professional services that are not only managing that work, but ensuring that we get the best price and that even things that may be beyond the scope of what was initially recognized are addressed. And also our fire department is working alongside teams there to ensure that everything is taken care of appropriately. So with that, that's what I have prepared. If there are any questions, I'm ready to take them now. Yes, sir.
Two questions about the 1% meeting. The meeting, obviously, you've gone into detail on that. When did y'all find out that the co-chair of the meeting, the vice chair, was not going to be there? From what I understood, that was a planned trip that was known about earlier. And then the other question is, the commissioners did follow bylaws that were included, or rules that they have regarding the election of a chair to preside over that meeting. So can you really say that the meetings aren't held if the chair and the vice chair aren't there?
Well, as you are aware, we have our own resident historian that sits on that commission and takes it upon himself in order to interpret the law on that. And with respect to when the meeting was planned for the vice chair, I can't tell you when he planned the meeting. I can tell you when we received notice that he had another obligation. We received notice towards the end of the week prior. Once my assistant made me aware of that, we then sent out communication to that effect. And then Mr. Perry took it upon himself, again, as he often does, to call everyone up and see if he could organize a meeting. That is not appropriate. As with many things, statutes, laws, there are various interpretations of how that should best go forward. And so there weren't any things. First of all, very little was accomplished in that meeting. And, you know, I think in order to make the point he wanted to make, he ended up wasting more people's time because he didn't have people there to report to the issues. He didn't have, the requisite updates that we normally get in those meetings. And so, as I said, I think it's unfortunate. I won't get into the mud as to why the effort was to do that. But just to say that the meeting was canceled, not because I wasn't there, not because members of the administration that sit on the commission weren't there, but because there was no vice chair to conduct the meeting in the absence of the chair.
Who has the authority to cancel the meetings?
Well, the authority would be both the chair and the vice chair. If there is no consensus on someone who can accomplish being there, just as with a council meeting, the president comes, right? If the president is absent, if the president walks out the room, right, the president hands the gavel over to the vice president to ensure that the meeting could be conducted, and that is based on Robert's rules, right? In fact, the individual that we're talking about, Mr. Perry, is a stickler for Robert's rules. And so that is why there is a process by which you do that. Even so, let's say that you get to the meeting and you appoint a chair at that point, you had to have called the meeting by some authority in order to get there for the vote, in order to accomplish that. So he self-appointed himself in that position, and as we all are aware, there's purpose behind it, but we won't get to that.
Mr. Mayor, I wanted to ask you about still running for re-election next year. Can you speak to your campaign's failure to file annual campaign finance reports for the last 3 years? I know you briefly talked about it October 21st. State law says the elected official shall not be paid any salary if they are not current on those reports. So the municipality shall not pay that public official any salary. I know you've been paid. I'm assuming you've been paid during this time. Can you respond to that?
That is associated with this case, and so I will not speak to it. I've spoken to it before, and I would leave my response to what it was. All right. Yes, sir.
I have a question for Chief Wade.
Chief Wade left. Chief Wade had to go attend a meeting related to the matter that he spoke about.
Mike, how many officers were involved in this?
I don't know those facts definitively, and so I declined from speaking to that without assurances as to the number that I think I remember being the actual number. So I would leave that to Chief Wade or whatever investigative body is in control moving forward.
Okay, and then when will Boo at the Zoo revenue numbers be made available?
We'll check with you, check for you, I should say. We'll check with our Parks and Recreation Director. I didn't come prepared with those numbers in hand. It should be easier to obtain based on the fact that we have the electronic payment system now that we were, this was the first big event, as we said, since that time. Yes, ma'am.
Mayor, I know you probably can't answer this either. I'm still going to ask if you know at this time that Ms. Sawyer was the only person in the vehicle, and then I have another question about Valimar.
So I don't know that. But your question about Valimar.
There were supposed to be chillers delivered. Do you know if they've been delivered to Valimar and have they been installed at this time?
So the chillers were delivered some time ago now, and because the other remediation work that needed to be done, we didn't want to infect the chillers with spores or any microbial growth that was in the facility. And so they have not been installed yet, but they are present on the property. In fact, I don't want to tell people where they are, but they're there, all right? Yeah. Yes, sir.
And then I know after the hearing that your sister did say that you were running for re-election, but can you tell us for us that you were running for re-election? Nothing
has changed. That's what I will confirm for you. Nothing has changed. Yes, sir.
A quick question. What's going on with the Convention Center Hotel, the RFQs? Are those still being evaluated? And do you know if there's someone's going to be chosen?
I will not respond to that question. And I'm dying to, but I won't, because that is related to the case. I will leave it to Mr. Keaton. I think Mr. Keaton has already expressed what is the latest update on that. Yes.
Mr. Mayor, I do have a campaign finance question, but it's from things that were filed in 2021, which was predate any of this federal investigation. There was a report that was filed back in June and in March, but specifically with those reports. Can you tell me whether or not Municipal Clerk Angela Harris has ever played a role in helping fill out or modify campaign finance reports on your behalf?
Not to my knowledge. I would be surprised about that. In fact, I don't fill out my campaign finance report. So unless she had some unknown relationship with the accountant who did that, then no, that is not true.
Would you think that would be appropriate if she did, given that she, Division of Municipal Clerk handles elections, it's under your office, you're a candidate as well?
I would just leave it to what I said. I'm not aware of any role she would have played in that.
Do we have any other questions that don't relate to any of this? Thank you.
All right. Thank you.